Hello everyone and welcome back to another Draft Today video. I'm Jeff Hoagland and we are drafting triple six here again. As we open up this first pack, there's nothing particularly powerful in this pack. I guess Ardent Fellowship is kind of a bomb rare, right? Troops you control get +1/+1 for each different Ardent race among troops you control. So like worst case, this card is like a 4 cost, all of your troops get +1/+1 a lot of the time in most decks. Because usually you've got like some Ardent and some Underworld, even if you're not building around, especially in Diamond. So I can see this being the pick. There's a couple of notable uncommons in this pack, though. Warpsteel Shardsworn is very reasonable, especially if you get some like Consult the Talons or other things that are with Mobilize. Determined Bushy is also a very reasonable pick if we're going to move into Wild. Vanquish and your Interlude are playable, but I don't think they're first pickable. I think the picks between the Bushy, the Shardsworn, or the Ardent Fellowship. It kind of depends on what we want to do. Let's try and force a non-Sapphire Diamond deck today. So let's grab the Determined Bushy here. As I say, let's force a non-Sapphire Diamond deck. We immediately get past a pack that has pretty mediocre uncommons here. And in the commons, the powerful commons in this pack are Shackling Strands, Vigilant Duskwing, Blitz is reasonable, Shadowblade Splicer is also okay. I think objectively the most powerful card in this pack is Shackling Strands, and I think I'm going to ultimately end up taking that. Maybe we'll try Sapphire Wild. Also, just because we first picked the Bushy doesn't mean we're going to necessarily move into Wild as one of our 2 shards. As far as this pack goes, none of the uncommons are particularly impressive in it. Cavalry is pretty bad in 666 as opposed to 665 because a lot of the good Valor producers are in set 5. This pack, as far as on-chart things, Silent Steak is playable, but I don't think it's a third pick. Feral Root Tactic, same thing. Like, I'm not unhappy to play this card, but I'm definitely not picking it high. Mosh Pit Gladiator is a playable common. Mooncall Ceremony is a playable common. Skyspire Scholar is a playable common. I think I'm just going to go ahead and pick up the Scholar here. Kind of wish we'd have taken the Shardsworn in our first pack now. And then we get a Vigilant Duskwing in this pack. This is the only playable Sapphire card in this pack, so I think I'm just going to grab this and cut it. You know, yesterday when we drafted 666, we ended up with basically a mono Sapphire deck. So, not sure if people just don't respect it in this format or what, but it's very powerful. Man, the feels when you grab the Bushy and then just like get past mono good Sapphire cards. Well, we're gonna take this Warpsteel Shardsworn. Again, only good Sapphire card in this pack, so it's just like sending the signals we want to send. Man, the one time I'm just like never not gonna force Sapphire ever again. We just like open reasonable Sapphire card. There's no way we're just like not taking it. I guess Bushy's fine, right? Like if we end up getting some Cloudbounders, Bushy's actually very good because not only is it a 2/2 crush, but this Diligence, it gets +1/+1 permanently every time this card ready. So this card scales very quickly. It is a powerful uncommon. There's a reason we picked it up. And I guess since we're in 666, Arcane Soil is a pretty powerful draw card that usually comes around late in packs, so it might not be completely unreasonable. As far as this pack goes, there's nothing particularly exciting in this pack in terms of picks. Burly Botanist is okay, but I don't really think I want to play that card. I'd rather have my 5-drops do more than this. This doesn't really break up ground stalls. Shoku's Garden is, again, like, okay, but not particularly impressive. I think objectively the best card in this pack is the Diamond's Favor. This is usually good at killing a lot of things that you care about. It's also the only good Diamond card in this pack, so it kind of sends that message that we want to send that you should maybe not pick up these cards. Let's see what exactly we end up in here. And here's the Arcane Soil that we were talking about earlier. So maybe we will grab the Arcane Soil here. Nothing else in this pack is particularly exciting. I actually wouldn't mind picking up a bunch of Rose Kittens. I think that could be a very good strategy in 666. But yeah, I'm gonna grab the Soil here, and let's just hide this Diamond Favor, and let's try and build this deck. See how that goes. So it'd be a good one to pick, not do it so well in the draft. I don't know, though. It might end up being really good. The card quality that we have so far is very reasonable. Arcane Soil is a card I haven't played before in Limited. It's draw 2 cards and summon a Dreadling for each card in your hand. So it's velocity and it pushes a little bit of damage. So here we have a choice between another Vigilant Duskwing and a Tactician. If we end up going down the Dreadling path, the Tactician's not completely unreasonable, but like Vigilant Duskwing is just like such an individually powerful card in a bomb. I think I'm just gonna pick that up. Just like it's a 3/5 that readies the start of each turn, so it's good with Mobilize, and it's just like plays offense and defense simultaneously. The stats on this card are very good in the context of the format. There's a lot of 2/2 flyers, and there's a lot of 3/3 flyers and 1/1 flyers, so it just like brick walls all of those while also attacking through them most of the time since it has 5 toughness. Seven playables already, that's not bad. As far as this pack goes, like, again, Botanist is okay, but I really just don't want more 5s. I feel like we're gonna have too many 5s as is, and I'd rather like leave my 5s for like Balmy Sapphire cards. So I think I'm actually gonna take the Conceal here. It gives a troop +1 power and unblockable permanently. So that's probably reasonable. I usually play, you know, one Conceal in decks where I get a chance to pick it up. There's like even putting that on like a 3-power troop, like a 4-power unblockable troop closes the game out very quickly. Nothing particularly exciting in here. I don't think Blind Basilisk is very playable. I'm going to grab the Shadowblade Splicer just because it's annoying. It's probably objectively the most powerful card in this pack, so I guess Blitz is close too, but I think this is in the deck, a deck where you can enable Scrounge, this card is insane. Just like kill one of your opponent's guys and leave a 3/3 flyer behind. It's great. Great. In this pack, we mentioned cards that we were willing to draft but didn't want to first pick. I think I'd rather take the Feral Root Tactics rather than the Silencing Sneak. This card can, like, push some mad points of damage through. We're probably not going to have too many Valors in this deck, but, like, it's a good combat trick. It's also just, like, Dreadedly give your troop +4/+4s, like, +4 damage to close the game out where they thought they were winning on the next backswing, so they make bad blocks, or suboptimal blocks to not play around something like this. I'm curious to see how this deck plays out because these two shards are generally kind of light on removal. And look, we got a Silencing Sneak in this pack. So yeah, it's just like a 3/2 for 3. That is the upside of being able to scrounge to just destroy a constant. People like to play Blood Spinner Zoriath or occasionally 2 Tomahawks in this format. And there's also just like random bomby constants that you'll wanna kill on sight. Happy to pick up this Rose Kitten here. So this is a 2/2 with Crush for 2 that gets +2 power for each of the Rose Kitten and Thorn Pup you control. So there's no set 5 pack in this draft, so we won't get any Thorn Pumps, but we will get 3 packs with Rose Kittens. So we'll probably start picking Rose Kittens with some priority at this point because they're powerful 2-drops, and like having strong proactive 2-drop plays in this format is really good. And like the fact that this goes up to 4 power right away is pretty huge. Like there's a lot of 1/4s and 2/4s in the format for like 3 and 4 mana, so like being able to attack into that kind of thing is great. Shoku's Garden is a card that we're, like, not unhappy to draft. It's definitely not being started, but having this in the board is fine against someone who's particularly aggressive. It's just, like, make 2 Dreadlings, gain 2 life. It also turns things like Arcane Soil into something that's more of a threat. Probably just picking up Chaff at this point. Yeah, I'm going to grab the Sanguine Boon. It's just the most playable card in this pack. The other two are, like, not close. Again, never registered Avert to the Ancient Kings in this format. Not about to start now. Man. Oh, what a pack. So I've never passed a Mystic Naturalist in my life. But there's an all-use specs of Lanupal in this pack. How many actions do we have? 1, 2, 3. So, and this is something I would love for your feedback in the comment sections. I think Mystic Naturalist is the objectively more powerful card in the deck that we have so far in this pack. Because we just don't have that many actions, even though this is like a powerful card in general. And like, I guess you only need like one trigger out of this to be good, but like, you only really need one trigger out of this to be good. And this can take over a game all on its own, like entirely self-contained. So I think I'm just going to stake this Mystic Naturalist. Yeah, I'm going to take the Mystic Naturalist. Man, someone passed a Totemic Elder. There must have been a really good uncommon in this pack. This pack's actually really good for us, too. Windborn Ascension is playable, Cerulean Sage is playable, Skyspire Scholar is playable. We would love them on Sage coins, but I'm actually going to take the Monk here. It's a 3/3 for 3 that when this Diligences, it gets +2/+2 and Spell Shield until your next turn. So once it starts raiding, it's just like a 5/5 with Spell Shield. It gets lets us start beating down. Huh. What do we want out of this pack? So we have a Skyspire Scholar again. That's plenty reasonable. We have an Enlarge here. Gives +2/+2 to Skyguard till end of turn. We also have a Turbulence. I think Enlarge and Turbulence are both fantastic cards in the context of this format. There's just like a lot of there's a lot of flying troops you want to be able to deal with. I think I want the Skyspire Scholar though. I don't know. This is pretty close. I feel like the Turbulence or the Enlarge are more likely to wheel, and this is the only good Sapphire card in this pack, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that, because I'd kind of be happy to get the Enlarge or the Turbulence back, and we're probably not going to get the Skyspire Scholar back, but we'll likely get one of those two. Would love to see some Cloudbounders in these packs. Just don't, I don't have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't have a lot of Diligence enablers, mobilize cards. It's also an excellent flying threat. This pack's got Sweep Away in it that's playable. It's got a Galleon Sentinel that's playable. You know, this card is insane in the Sapphire Diamond deck. But we are definitely Sapphire Wild at this point. I'm going to grab another Vigilant Duskwing here. We're just going to play a high resource count deck with three Vigilant Duskwings at our top end is pretty insane. Anytime you get multiple of those into play, you just start beating people down. It's very good. Hopefully we can get like, if we get like 3 more Rose Kittens, that would be insane. Probably 3's the floor, so I need 2 more of these to be happy enough to play them, I think. Oh no, did my internet have issues here? Sorry about that. My internet's lagging a bit. In this pack, we're definitely not a Draka Outcast deck. We got 0 Conscript Runes going on. Spring Renewal. Put target non-action card from your crypt into your hand. Huh. I feel like this might be playable, right? It's a little awkward because it doesn't fill out our curve. It's probably worse than Skyspire Scholar, right? Like, I think I have enough bombs here at the top end. Yeah, I'm just going to grab another Scholar. And 3 is probably the ceiling on him. I don't know, he's just such a good blocker. Just like 0/6s come off the ground really well. We're actually pretty happy to pick up Crossing Swords here. Target troop you control gets +1/+1 and exhaust this. It battles an opposing troop. That's about as good as removal as we're going to get in our 2 shards that we have. That and Shackling Strands are what we're looking to pick up, but that's only our second piece of removal here altogether. So ideally would like 2 to 3 more Shackling Strands and or Crossing Swords. What a slightly awkward name for a card. In this pack, again, I mentioned we're not a Draka Outcast deck. I actually think Windborne Ascension is fine. It gives us something to do on the first turn of the game, and sometimes just makes random bombs. And, like, even when it doesn't make a random bomb, a lot of the time it's giving you just, like, a 2 or 3 power flyer to play on the third turn of the game, which is just, like, more than appropriate. So, like, occasionally wins the game on the spot, other times just, like, is a reasonable play. We already have like 18 playables here, and we're only halfway into pack 2, so definitely going to have things that we need to cut. Like this Rose Kitten may or may not be playable at this point in our deck. Hey, look, a Turbulence. 10 out of 10 starting the first Turbulence. I don't think Tilling the Soil is particularly impressive, and Potent Puffball and Shriek are just not cards we're interested in playing in this deck. Blindside's a very good Diamond. If we were in Diamond, that would definitely be the pick out of this pack, but we're 10 out of 10 playing the first Turbulence in our main deck. And honestly, if we pick up a second, we will probably board it in more than one matchup, more than one game over the 3 matches that we play with the deck. Hopefully this third pack is just like mono Cloudbounders. Hey look, we got another Crossing Swords. Sign me up. Crossing Swords is also great because it's technically a Diligence enabler, right? It can enable Diligence on the Bushi and the Monk. It seems plenty reasonable. It can technically enable Diligence on the Mystic Naturalist, too. No more kitty cats have come around. I'm going to hide this Rose Kitten for now. We got more than enough playables, and we just haven't seen another one. The Conceal might also be a card that we could take or leave. Although Conceal on Vigilant Duskwing sounds really obnoxious. Just like a 4-power guy that just like hits them every single turn and then readies to block. I usually pick priority Skyspire Scholar higher over Cerulean Sage, but like we already have 3 Scholars, so I'm like 10 out of 10 happy to take this Sage and like fill out my lower curve a little bit here. We only have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we only have 3 cards that cost 2 or less right now that aren't because like Crossing Swords is not a 2-drop, Conceal is not a 2-drop, Turbulence usually isn't a 2-drop, so I don't know that I have room to play Enlarge in my main deck right now, so I'm going to grab the second Turbulence for the reserves, I think. The Sapphire Diamond Flyers deck is very good in this format, so having extra cards to bring in against that when you play against it is plenty reasonable. Also, if we're able to just like keep their fatter things out of the air, our Vigilant Duskwings will easily take over the game. Sentinel, plenty playable. 3/3 Skyguard makes the Valor when it comes into play, so I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to hide this Conceal for now. May or may not play that. This is also a card that may or may not make the cut depending on the quality of the cards we pick up from here on out. Feral Root Tactics is also a card that we don't have a lot of Valor, so its other upside isn't very high. I'm going to grab the Talon Keep Watcher just in case someone's counting on that coming back around. Hide some of the cards that are a little bit more medium in our deck so far. So looking for more Shackling Strands and 2 drops in this next pack. A couple of Rose Kittens would be great. Is Starling Brave playable? That might be playable in this deck. We're just like looking for things to fill out our lower curve, and like this attacks on 2, so diligence on 3. So on turn 3 we have 4 resources. So it could like enable Vigilant Duskwings ahead of curve and Mystic Naturalist. It's probably fine. Nothing particularly great in this pack. Take the Magnetize because it's pseudo removal if your deck is in it. However, if your deck is in this card and it's playable for you, you probably would have picked it up by now. Picking up the dredges at the end of the pack here. So looking for removal, more Mystic Naturalists. Wouldn't mind to consult the talents would be great in this deck. Far cry from the 4. Hey, look at last pick sneak. Would definitely board in a second sneak against a constant champion. Man, the feels when you're in Sapphire Wild and then get the on shard rare draft well in the 3rd pack. I think this is actually objectively the right pick. I could see an argument being made for Webscribe to be right here, but yeah, I'd like taking the Well of Instinct based on dollars, and it's definitely good in our deck. That's very nice. Actually, you know, the fixing is actually kind of nice, right? Because we've got like double wild cards here and double sapphire cards here, so like having a duel is actually pretty good. Wow, this pack is really good for us. Like pretty high probability that this pack comes back around and we get something we want out of it. I think I'm going to take the Shackling Strands out of it just because, like I said, we'd like at least 4 pieces of removal, and this will be our 4th piece of removal. Ideally, I'd love for this Webborn Apostate to come back around, but if we got a Scribe, a Sage, or a Rose Kitten back out of this pack, I'd be very happy with it when we see it again here. So 10 out of 10 taking the Shackling Strands, but we want some more lower cards to fill out our curve. I think ideally the Sentinel's not going to make the cut. Up next, Smoke and 2-drops. Ooh, it's not a 2-drop, but it is a bomb we are looking for. This is a Diligence Enabler, and it's just like a 4/4 flying bomb that also acts as pseudo removal since it can exhaust an opponent's troop. Other cards of note in this pack: Cheap Shot's great, Enlarge is fine. Revision, I love this card. It's just very good in this format if you're in Diamond. I'll always play a Revision main if you are in Diamond. No ifs, ands, or buts. Always play the first Revision in your main deck. Strangle, excellent. This pack's really good for Blood. Strangle, Cheap Shot, Blood's Favor. 10 out of 10 taking the Garden Grelk for ourselves. This is actually kind of an interesting decision. We have Skittering Cultivator and Cerulean Sage here. What are the merits of the two different cards here? I think I want the Cerulean Sage just to like fill my curve out lower. It's also like another flying evasive threat to help pressure our opponent, but like Skittering Cultivator is a little bit better at blocking, which is not irrelevant. I'm gonna grab the Sage because I feel like we're a little bit more aggressive in this deck than a lot of my decks, but we'll see. See how that ends up feeling at the end. I'm gonna cut the Galleon Sentinel for now. Hopefully we're gonna find 1 to 2 more things to fill out the bottom here. Maybe the Sneak doesn't make the main deck cut. Yeah, 10 out of 10 grabbing this Determined Bushy here. Yep, sounds great. We're gonna move this Sneak to the board. Oh, you need help with your bridge? Oh, you need Dad to set it up for you? Okay, I'll be right back for our next pick. I'm gonna go set a bridge up for my toddler. Wow, this pack's actually kind of tough. I have to weigh the merits of a Cloudbounder versus a Determined Bushy. I think the top end of our curve is good enough at this point that I'd rather just grab the Bushy, honestly. I think having 3 of those is going to be really good. Like, there's like a 0% chance that Cloudbounder comes back around, but I think the Bushy is definitely the correct pick. This deck feels like it's more aggressive, which makes me happy to take the Cerulean Sage. Like, curving like Sage into Bushy and then like pressuring our opponent sounds really good. I think based on how our curve sold out at the bottom here, I don't actually want the Snarling Brave in the deck. What does this pack have going on? I don't think Howling Planesrunner is particularly good in this deck. I think Spring Renewal might be playable at this point. Like, we filled out the bottom of our curve enough, and like bringing a Bushy back that's like this card could get out of control kind of quickly, and Spring Renewal can like pick that back up out of our crypt and put it in our hand, just let us start using it again. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 two or less cost cards. Huh. So I really wouldn't mind having another 2-drop, but at this point, like, we've mostly filled out our playables. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the on-shard coins here. Pretty happy to like add another resource here to the mix. Like, if we get another Web Scribe, if we get a Web Scribe. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, if we get a Web Scribe, I'm probably going to work it in here, but I don't think it was worth picking over a coin. Maybe the Spring Renewal is not good enough. That's not an individually powerful threat on its own. And this is 17 shards, which might be a touch light. I think we want 18 with the Grelk and these 5 drops up here. Web Scribe and Sage. I think Sage is better in this deck, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Man, do I need to just trim top end here? Is Arcane Soil not good enough? Man, I'm not used to having this this hard of a time making cuts. And that's something that comes with the territory of this is an archetype I haven't really drafted before, which just kind of makes it, you know, a little bit interesting. Get to do something a little bit different. We're up to 6, 7 now, so maybe the Web Scribe's not good enough, just because, like, it's not really an aggressive card. It's also possible that maybe we should trim a Skyspire Scholar, just because this deck is a little bit more on the aggressive side. So, like, 26, we've got 24 cards here right now, so that's 16 resources. So we need to cut at least one of these, and then maybe the Arcane Soil can go away. Just, like, leave our top end all bomby threats instead of just, like, a little bit of turtle card advantage. Have, like, some Skyspire Scholars in the middle for card advantage. Enlarge seems fine. And actually, because our deck's a little bit more aggressive, maybe the Enlarge is better than the Turbulence in the main deck. Like, this is a card that can let us jump up and grab a flying card on a block, and it lets us push through attacks. The fact that our deck is kind of aggressive, maybe that makes the Feral Root tactics better. Like, giving +4/+4, it's really expensive, though. It's a shame that card doesn't have Mobilize. I think we're putting +1 in Crush in the Warp Steel Shard Sworn. Just, like, get 3 power for 2 resources. Seems reasonable. Get another Sneck in here. It also might be possible that, also could be possible that this is not an 18 resource deck. Like, maybe this is a 17 resource deck. All the Snecks. Nah, we have 3 5s and a Grelk. This has got to be a 18 resource deck. We have a coin too, so like, yeah, we've got enough 5s that I think we should just stick to my always play 18 plan. The real question here is, what is our champion going to be? I don't think I like any of the shardless champions. Sort by shard. I don't think I like any of the shardless champions in this deck. I could maybe be talking to Theraz, where your troops get +1/+1 till end of turn. This feels like And it's probably a Grandfather Elk deck. 4 charges, target gets +3/+3 and crush this turn. That doesn't seem completely unreasonable. It could allow us to like push our bushies through on board states where they wouldn't normally be able to attack, and then they can ready and continue attacking. It also lets us like push through extra points of damage in the air. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give that a try. What do our costs look like here? We're mostly double Sapphire, right? But we're double Sapphire higher in the curve. And I have this dual shard, and we're playing 18, so it's probably just like this is replacing the last wild shard. So we're going to go 7 wild, and then... So that's 9 sources of wild total, and then we'll go 9 sapphire. So it's 9 sapphire, and then not, or 10 sapphire, 9 wild. 1, 2, and then 7. Yeah, that seems fine. I don't have any sockets. Oh, I do have sockets, yep. Or steel shards. This is why you should always click the little checkbox there. And it warns you when you save the deck too, but... It's good to just be in the habit of checking it. Go ahead and put Crush on there, and then yeah, I think I'm reasonably happy with this. I don't have a good metric on like how powerful this deck is, but like we've got a lot of good early pressure. We've got 4 pieces of removal. We've got quality top end bombs, and we've got some card advantage and blockers in the middle in case things go south and the board needs to get gummed up. So I think I'm pretty happy with this deck overall. As always, my name is Jeff Hoagland. Thanks for watching another Draft Today video. Remember, if you liked the video, to like the video on YouTube and go ahead and share it, as well as subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of different ways you can support my content in addition to that. You can subscribe on Twitch for $4.99 a month, or you can become a patron on Patreon. Links to do both of those things are in the video description. You could also buy Hex singles from hexprimal.com with the code Jeff5 to get 5% off your order and support the content. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another Draft Today. Thanks for hanging out, folks, and I'll catch you around.